Welcome to the Tournament Center here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. I'm Ian Duke. With me here is Pierre Dagen from Team Eureka, and we are here with a deck tech for one of the breakout new decks here at the Pro Tour, and that is Green-Red Goggles Ramp. Now, Pierre, I'm told you came up with this deck and that you have a pretty interesting story for how you designed it. Can you tell us all about that?
Yeah. Our first day testing was all about beating Band Company and humans, and it went pretty bad because we spent like 8 or 9 hours just playing against it. And I mean, Band Company is so good as a deck, especially with like now Tireless Tracker. It's such a strong deck, we could not beat it. So after 8-9 hours, I'm like, guys, I'm a bit tired, I'm gonna just take a break. I fall on the couch. They're pretty much the best way to describe it. I just fall on the couch for like 1 hour, and suddenly I'm like, guys, I know, we need to play Goggles. Like, we need to play Goggles because before that, Ramp was good against Company because you had Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, and we needed a way to go over the top. And Goggles is a new way to do that. So I built a deck. I play like 10 games with Magnus Lento playing Band Company. We go like 8-2, so we tell the other guys, okay, maybe we have something. So Brad is like, oh, you're beating Band Company. Yeah, okay, play me. So I play him, and I think the first game, I fireball him for 20. And he's like, okay, I'm on board, guys. I'll just play your deck.
That sounds awesome.
And that's how we like get started on the deck.
That's great. So you just like went into hibernation, thought about it for a while, and then came out with a eureka moment of your own.
I'll call it meditation,
okay,
but it could be hibernation as well, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. So yeah, let's take a look at the deck card by card here. Yeah, start us off with these three.
So the main idea of the deck is to ramp into very powerful things. So you get Innistrad Pilgrimage, which is really good, both at getting you faster and also just getting your hands full of forest that you can cycle to other things later, or that you can just play. Also, Spell Mastery is pretty easy to achieve. Hidden Archive is the same thing. It just lets you play all of your cards faster, Dragonlord Atarka, World Breaker. And Goggles is like the one card I love in the deck because it's both a way to go from 5 to 7 mana, so from 5 to Atarka, or, and most importantly, a way to double every red effect you have, so either Tormenting Voice, Fiery Impulse, or Fall of the Titans. So that just lets you have a super powerful late game, except that this late game comes online turn 5. So it's actually a mid game that's just as powerful as a super late game.
That sounds
that's
great.
The key card for the deck.
Yeah, so let's move on a little bit and take a look at some of the cards that you can copy with Pyromancer's Goggles. So you talked a little bit about Magnetic Insight and Tormenting Voice. What's super cool to me about this interaction is you pay an additional cost of discarding cards for the first copy of the spell, but when you copy it, you don't have to do that again. So you're just getting a bunch of bonus cards.
So you're just getting, for example, with Insight, discard a land, draw 4, which is like better than Ancestral Vision. So it's just super powerful effect that also just makes the deck like so much more consistent because you don't flood out, you get like all your draws are pretty consistent every time. So you get a pretty good deck in the end, just with those 7 effects.
Now, did you know you wanted to play these 2 cards as soon as you added the Goggles? Was that sort of a package that you added together?
Yes, for me, if you play the Goggles, you have to play those 7 cards. They will be super strong with Goggles, and they also let you get the Goggles more often. Because since Goggles is legendary, you don't really want to play 4, but you still want to draw them all the time, and this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Tell me about Traverse the Ulvenwald. This is a new card from Shadows over Innistrad. Haven't seen a ton of it so far, but it's definitely a powerful card. What does it bring to this deck?
Yeah, like it's one of the cards that got Joe and I super excited when we looked at the spoiler list because it's good at every point of the game and it's super cheap. And in my book, that's a very good card. So early in the game, it lets you get your lands, get more mountains because you want to play a lot of forests because of Pilgrimage. But you still need to get mountains to cast a red spell, so that lets you do it. It fills up your graveyard both for Spell Mastery and it's a great enabler for Surge. So it lets you play Fall of the Titans much easier with this. And much later in the game, after you sacrifice an Hidden Archive, you usually have Delirium, so you can tutor for Atarka or World Breaker.
That sounds great. It's like the Swiss Army knife of the deck,
exactly.
Right? It kind of does
exactly
everything.
That.
Very cool.
It does everything.
So yeah, let's take a look at what we have next. These are removal spells, sweepers.
Yeah, you just don't want to die.
Yeah, why these cards at these numbers in particular?
Well, Fiery Impulse is clearly the best one because you pay 4 because they kill pretty much every creature within the Band Company and the human deck if you have Spell Mastery. And you can copy them with Goggle for only 1 mana. So the turn you play Goggle, even if you only have 5 lands, you can play Goggle, tap it, and instantly play 2 copies of Fiery Impulse, which usually gives you enough time to do powerful things after. Kozilek's Return is just a great sweeper. You want to play it because it's great against humans. And since you play World Breaker, you can also flashback it for 5 damage, which is obviously great. Fall of the Titans is a bit of a more versatile card, which is both a good sweeper against company because you play one mana spell, say go, they play company, and then you surge it, and you kill both guys that just put into play. So it lets you defend all the flash game that they have.
Right, because it's an instant. That's
Yes,
I
it's
think
an
something
instant, and
few people
that's a
forget
big
about
selling
this
point
card
for me as a
sometimes.
card. It's really great.
How often would you say you use Fall of the Titans just to remove a few mid-game creatures versus you said you fireballed for 20 against Brad, right?
I'd say it's half the time just a way to clear the board on turn 4 or 5. And when you do it later in the game, you usually want to cast it with goggles and just instantly kill them. Because like if you do it for 8 with goggles, it's already 16 damage to the face. And that's most of the time, that's just enough.
Sounds great. Let's take a look at the next slide. So here we have some of the big threats in the deck, right? You mentioned Worldbreaker before. Just been a staple in ramp decks. It's awesome at flashing back
and it's
Kozilek's
also got
return.
much better with the new land, Drowned Temple, which lets you rebuy it infinitely. You can sacrifice Temple, return it to your hand, return the Temple into play, return, and so on and so forth. And that works just great.
Dragon Lord Atarka, this is, just a powerful card.
Exactly.
Why only one copy?
You don't want too many 7-drops, and you have Traverse the Elden Wall to get it if you need to.
Okay.
So one was fine. We have a second one in the board, but one was pretty much fine.
And then, coming into the tournament early in this season, Chandra Flamecallers, it feels like a card that's picked up a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
It's both a good way to sweep the board against company and humans. Once again, they had like the big target, so we want to beat them. A way to kill your opponent, and especially this deck kind of have a hard time against Planeswalkers, and Shenra is a great way to get them.
Okay, so she's like the Planeswalker that's good at killing other
exactly.
Planeswalkers?
She's the Planeswalker that kills Planeswalker. And also you have like your hands full of forests because of Pilgrimage, so the 0 ability, like discard and draw, usually lets you cycle like 2 or 3 forests into 4 active spells, which is great later in the game.
Very nice. Let's take a look at what we have next. So getting onto the mana base here, it's just a straightforward 2-color deck, so pretty straightforward mana base. See only 3 Cinderglades here, 4 Game Trails. Why stop at 3 Cinderglades?
Pretty much you want all your lands to come untap as much as you want. You want 8 forests for the Pilgrimage. You want Mountain because you want a red untapped on turn 1 for Insight and Impulse. So if you play more than 3, the 4th one will almost always come tapped, which is just not great.
And then you mentioned Drowned Temple earlier on. Yeah, a new card here as well. Seems like a great combo with Magmatic Insight and Tormenting Voice.
Exactly, and with Worldbreaker as well. It's
Very nice.
really a card I love. I think it's one of the most underrated cards so far in the set. I think it's super powerful. It lets you do a ton of cool things, and it lets you ramp like. Actually, this is another way to ramp from 3 to 5 and let goggles on turn 4. Because if you discard this on turn 1 or 2, you can just kind of flashback it on turn 3 and have 5 mana on turn 5.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's like a rampant growth out of the graveyard, sort of. Very cool, very cool. So yeah, there you have it. It's the Red-Green Goggles Ramp deck from Team Eureka. Thanks for sharing with us, Pierre.
Thank you.
I'm Ian Duke, signing off from the Tournament Center.